Ah, didn't see you there. Hi, welcome to my fabulous house with my roaring fire and collection of books. I'm Richard and I produce content for this program, and I want to get into something really, really deep and interesting to me today. And I wanted to make it about the holiday season. You know, since it's pre or post Christmas 2020. So I wanted to throw my own content and hat in the ring once again, as I've been doing for the last couple weeks, and see if I can entertain you for a bit. Come sit down in my study. It's nice and warm in here. Unless you really don't want to watch this, but whatever, it's fine. Just roll the clip.
If you're watching this while it is airing live, Christmas 2020 is almost here. And if you're watching this as a recorded video on some platform, it is either just before Christmas 2020, on Christmas 2020, or past it entirely. Either way you slice it, you are watching this video. I don't need to go into specifics for the year 2020. To put it lightly, it has been a tough time for many families across the globe, and this upcoming and or past holiday is no exception. In the wake of a global pandemic, it has been hard enough to keep up on rent, let alone the celebrations that merit some kind of gift giving. And if you're watching this video, you probably already knew that because you've been living in it. But Christmas 2020 is approaching or has passed, and while commercials, capitalism, game award shows, and even our own program will put out content or advertisements for their products to entice you into spending your hard-earned pandemic dollars on some form of entertainment, in this case, specifically, video games. While we have seen recent advancements in technology and hardware in the form of the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X, a very confusing thing that a lot of parents might disappoint their children on this year, as well as the GeForce 30 series and AMD's RX 6000 series graphics cards available for your PC. These all cost a pretty penny, honestly, but make your games run better and smoother, and with ray tracing enabled, make your games look the best they could possibly could, while allowing for competitive level frame rates. Ideally. Hopefully. However, I will bring an argument as to why, and in the pre/post Christmas season of 2020, it is not worth buying the latest and greatest video game options on the market. Typically, when a new console launches, we are plagued with issues. I will go into a very brief history of important console failures for their launches. In 2005, the Xbox 360 had very small storage space, was notorious for red ringing, bricking the console entirely. If you remember dealing with that, it was an entirely unnecessary and long process, and would scratch discs while in its own disc tray from time to time. The PS3 got inferior versions of cross-platform games because of its incredibly complicated architecture, had long install and loading times, was notoriously priced, being $599 in 2005, for no better reason than it being an alternative to the more expensive Blu-ray players that Sony was putting out at the time. And the online infrastructure was really bad for its entire life cycle, continuing on into the PlayStation 4s. These issues didn't even get fixed until 4 years later, in the case of the PS3 Slim, and 5 years later in the case of the Xbox 360S. In 2013, the PS4 launched with some dead-on-arrival consoles, a rare issue similar to the red ring of death seen on the Xbox 360, and busted display ports or broken drivers for it. The Xbox One, on the other hand, had to be patched immediately out of the box to remove the always-on DRM that was famously hated by consumers prior to launch, required the wholly useless Xbox Connect to run at all, and was $100 more expensive than the PS4, and had very few interesting mass-market exclusives. On top of this, it also released a week later than the PS4, crippling it when it comes to the market. Now, for the PS5 that was released only a few weeks ago, widely reported problems including overheating issues, controllers that aren't charging correctly, games that get installed without warning, and glitches that can cause console crashes run rampant through first-time boot-ups and users of the PS5. The Xbox Series S and X owners are also having issues with controllers not recognizing inputs. Quick Resume is not working on some titles, your Wi-Fi connection can just break sometimes, and variable refresh rate monitors are breaking or corrupting your video output signal until it's turned off entirely or your monitor is switched out. Plus, both consoles heavily push the use of a smartphone and their respective app to set up your console for you. That is less of a complaint and more of something I personally don't like, because even in the year 2020, not everybody has a smartphone. It's just a really crappy thing to do. It's like when you have to use your phone in order to make sure that your juicer works. It's unnecessary. And this isn't even to mention that one of the biggest games of 2020, Cyberpunk 2077, was already performing miserably or not at all on the backwards compatibility options and on the older hardware, if not outright bricking some of the consoles in some of these cases. Every launch of a console since the option to have internet connectivity has been a mess. It seems the ability to push now and patch later has been plaguing the video game industry more day by day. And the most important factor in not purchasing a new console or video game? The cost! Not only are they going up because companies are greedy and want more money on top of their microtransaction bullshit, you have more important things to do with your limited pandemic-earned funds than to spend it on a box that might not work when you have already bought it. Who wants to spend days of technological frustration when you could instead be spending time with your family? Socially distance over a Zoom call, of course. And while you do that, why not try playing the enormous backlog of games you still haven't finished on your still perfectly viable PS4 or Xbox One, or even your Steam library. These consoles will only drop in price later. Let that happen. Let them patch the bugs away first. Spend some time with your loved ones this holiday season. I mean, seriously, Astro's Playroom and Demon Souls can wait. I promise. But either way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You've made it through 2020. I am incredibly proud of you. Good job. Let's see what 2021 has in store for it. Hopefully, some better video games and some better options than the ones we're currently seeing. I'll see you then.